Iglesia ni Cristo.
Welcome to INCRadio Oregon, where our brethren from different parts of Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming greet you. Come get to know all of our brethren from the Ecclesiastical District of Oregon and explore our activities, experiences, and sceneries. This is Oregon.
Hello, and welcome to all our viewers and listeners for INCRadio Oregon. Thank you for joining us. And my name is Sister Lauren Blodgett, and I'm from the local congregation of Beaverton here in the Ecclesiastical District of Oregon. Our topic for today will be benefits of reading. But before we continue, let us first greet Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Aranyo Manalo, our CFO Coordinator, Sub-CCO, and President. Thank you both for your love and guidance for us in our INCRadio programs, and for everything you do for all the brethren worldwide. Please greet us and your family and your friends in the live chat. Let us know what local congregation or group worship service you are from, and if you are from another district, please let us know that too. Our live chat engagement question today is, what is your favorite book genre? Which is, what kind of book topic or style do you like reading? Say it's mystery or self-help or poetry, something of that sort. Just let us know so we can see what everyone is reading. And remember to show your active participation in the live chat by hashtagging your local congregation or group worship service. So before I go straight into our topic, I wanted to introduce my lovely two guests with me today. I have two sisters here with me. I will first let our other host, Sister Flo, introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers and our listeners today. I am your sister, Flo Guillermo, from the local congregation of Vancouver. I'd like to greet our resident minister, Brother Rod Reyes, and our assistant resident minister, Brother Albert McClintal, and their families. Well, of course, I'd like to greet Kajes, who is helping us in behind the scenes. Thank you so much, always, for being there for us here at INCRadio Oregon. Before we go on and go to our lovely guests joining us, I'd like to first give our birthday greetings to some of our brethren here in our district, as well as happy anniversary greetings as well. So, in the local congregation of Vancouver, I'd like to greet the following brethren a very happy birthday, and I hope that you will have celebrated well yourself and with your family. So, going out first to Brother Lexter Killit, April 1st. He's our head deacon there in our local congregation of Vancouver. April 2nd, Brother Adriel Morales. April 5, Sister Pamela Castillo. April 7, Brother John Benny. April 9, Sister Zaira Correa. I hope I got that last name correct. And of course, April 9 as well, Brother Michael Fritchett. And happy anniversary to, they're both from Beaverton, Brother Jay and Sister Jonalyn Cacho, April 11. And I'd like to also congratulate them for their newly born baby girl. Her name is Juliet. And from Vancouver, Brother Brian and Sister Melissa Ranchez, April 12th. So happy celebration to all of you. And if you're having your birthday sometime this month as well, happy birthday and happy anniversary as well. All right, let's go to Sister Abby. Hi, Sister Abby.
Hello po everyone. I am Sister Abigail Cavero from the local congregation of Boise, Idaho, and I'd like to greet our resident minister, Brother Vem Canlas, and his family. I'd also like to greet our resident minister from Boise, Idaho, or our assistant district minister, Brother Noel Caritativo, and I'd like to also greet my family, Brother Erwin Cavero, Sister Dulce, and my Brother Josh. Thank you for having me po.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you, both of you, for joining for this topic. And I will now go into the topic and explain what we're kind of talking about today. So, our topic is listed as benefits of reading. An interesting topic that might intrigue you after you learn about the information. With the growing accessibility of video entertainment, reading has slowly become a lost hobby. But it can be so beneficial. And although it may require more undivided time, it can be a tool for learning and strengthening the brain. So, in this episode, we will discuss the benefits of reading and the various ways to fulfill this hobby. So, the first question that I wanted to ask my guests is, what do you like and dislike about the idea of reading? I'm going to ask Sister Abby because she has a good answer for this.
I would say that reading is very beneficial and it helps increase creativity and it helps with imagination. Although a downside is that it would be time consuming, but it's worth it. It's hard to put down a book.
I agree. I think that's one of my biggest kind of downsides to reading is that it does take a lot of time, which for me, I recently, because I've been very busy with school and work and stuff. So I mentioned this to her earlier, but I like listening to audiobooks, and especially when I'm driving or when I'm doing something, like say I need to just copy down the same notes or something like that, or fill out something, I'll listen to an audiobook while I'm doing it rather than listening to music. And I feel like that's a good way to add it to your time so it's not so time consuming. You can kind of double or multitask. But I also agree it's very beneficial, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But I will go to Sister Flo to ask her the same question.
What was our question again, Sister Laura?
what, what do you like and dislike about the idea of reading?
Ah, sometimes reading, let's go to this part first. Sometimes reading, when you're really into it and um, when you have your eyes on it, sometimes I fall asleep. And so I have to limit how long I would be reading because I don't want to fall asleep, especially on a good book. Um, the good part about reading is that it helps you to explore different things, and especially for whatever you're interested in. So that part is exploring is a good thing.
Hmm. I really like how a lot of different authors can really put your imagination into that storyline, and you can really paint the picture in your brain. And so it's a good way to escape and
Yes.
kind of separate your mind from all the busy work that you have to do. And I think that's something I see in our live chat from Sister Cheryl Wadget. She said it's relaxing to read a good novel. And we actually have a lot of comments already from our live chats. We have some greetings from Brother Albertson McIntyre, Sister Hazel Miranda Gutierrez, as well as Brother R. Christian Rhoda, Brother Armand Kagingin, and Sister Luisa Desma,
Yeah.
Desma, Brother June Mariano, Sister Angie Clark, and Brother Kunai Anacletos III Celino, and Sister El Aguilar. We have a lot of live chats coming in, and so as we keep seeing them, we will be sure to include them in our conversation. But I will continue on to our next question for now, which is, how do you pick a book? I know there are some people that will just look at the cover and be like, I want to read that. It looks really nice. And I guess that is the point of the cover. But there are some people that like to read through and find out from different sources or ask a friend for a book. So how do you to find find or pick a book? I'll go to Sister Flo this time first.
Um, sometimes when we have friends are talking about, oh, what have you read lately? And so it comes from conversation that they're mentioned, oh, I read this book. This is really interesting. And so you go and pick up that book either at the library or purchase the book from a bookstore. Or, you know, when you watch a movie and they say, oh, it's better to read it read the book. Um, so there's two sides to, a story, right? A movie or getting an actual book. And sometimes the book would be a much better read because there's so many details versus watching a movie. So it could go in those routes. Sometimes it could be when there's something you're interested in, is how I would, pick my books. And I agree with you, Sister Lauren. I love to look at book covers. Like when it's interesting, it's eye catching. Oh, let's check this book out. So yeah, that's for me too.
What kind of books do you prefer reading, Sister Flo?
Um, of course, I like to read self-help books. Most That's most of what I have on my shelf is self-help books and things to help improve myself as well as others. Um, There's a
Yeah.
lot of unfinished books right now, but we'll get to them eventually. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people recently have really been into self-help books. I feel like that's a pretty big trend right now.
It
I
is.
have not been hopping on that trend, but maybe I should. Maybe I
Yeah,
will. I don't know.
Mr.
Okay.
Lauren, could I just go ahead and greet Brother Michael Guerrero joining us? Hi, Brother Michael. He's coming in from Northwest California. Paul, thank you so much for tuning in. Sister Vicky Dumopoy, hello po ate. She is coming from Great Britain. Wow. Wonder what time it is over there. Happy watching to all our brethren around the world. Happy she's catching on to INCRadio Oregon Satellite Studio. And she's greeting all of us here. Back to you, Sister Laurie.
Thank you all for listening and tuning into our live chat. I will go to Sister Abby. I will ask her the same question was, how do you pick your book?
I like to go through social media because there's a lot of book reviews, and looking at the back of the book, there's also a little summary about the book, and so I like going through that as well.
Mm, I usually use social media as well to I'll look up the topic or like the kind of or genre or topic that I want to read about, and then I will look through all like the reviews online and find kind of what I want to read. And sometimes I don't like how much they give you on the reviews. Sometimes they do spoil a lot of things, so
That's
that is the
true.
downside to it. But I do also do that, as well as I have a lot of friends that like reading, and so they'll send me like, "Oh, I really like this book. I think you'll like it," and then they'll send it to me, and we'll read it. I'll read it, and they're like, "You have to tell me what you think." And so I have to. So I find a lot of books from friends, but social media is also another reason. And I, like Sister Flo, also really like looking at covers. So sometimes I won't even read anything about it. I'll just look at it, like, you know what? I want to read that. And sometimes it's a good decision, and sometimes it's not. But that's okay. And I also like reading the first page of a book and kind of seeing like say that like the topic sounds interesting and everyone really likes it, but if I don't get hooked by the first or second page, I'm the kind of person that won't read any
Right.
further.
Yeah,
So
same.
that's one of the things. I always read like the first page before I really decide. Um, so based on your answer to the last question, Sister Abigail, I have a feeling that you prefer reading printed copies rather than ebooks. Is that right?
Correct. I prefer reading printed copies because I just like the feeling of reading a book, and I like to like add tabs to each page. I'm really into poetry, so if I find like a good poetry or like a good like sentence, I will like bookmark it. And with like ebooks, I mean you can do that, but it's just not the same feeling. And like with audiobooks, or like audio, yeah, audiobooks. I always tend to fall asleep whenever I try listening to it, so I just can't do audiobooks.
Yeah,
I
some
think it's
some
the
of the
voice, right? When you're
That's
yeah.
listening to
true.
audiobooks, sometimes even just you focus on the voice and it starts to become soothing, then it kind of makes you go to sleep, right? So yeah, I
Mhm.
kind of agree with you on that one.
Yeah, the printed copies as well for you, sister. Okay.
Oh, sorry, what did
Anyway,
you say?
I think, well, I think a lot of people I know that like books, like really enjoy books. They prefer like having the printed copy because you can see like the physical process of what you're like reading and see how far you've read and like what like and like you said with the tabs, like you can see like the little tabs and like flip through it and stuff like that. And so I think that's really easy. I am not a big ebook reader, but I know a lot of people like that for the accessibility it is to have that like book right with you and you can carry like one tablet with you and read from there.
Yeah. Also for I prefer the printed copies. Easier
Mm,
to, read, especially with I'm into the bigger fonts now, so it's easier to read, kind of a thing. And I like to highlight certain things, so I have a highlighter, and I those important things I would just like to highlight those pieces. But when it is a printed book, especially if it's mine, of course you can't highlight something that you borrowed from the library, but yeah, printed ones. I wanted to also read Brother Michael Guerrero. He's a minister of the gospel, and he said reading is a great way to put down our phones and kind of disconnect from the distractions sometimes that comes with social media. Although social media can be a great tool for finding books as well. So he agrees with you, Sister Abby, on that one. Also, it's a great way to share our faith on social media. Sister Wendy Lowe from INCRadio, Texas said, I like going to the library or bookstores and look at the new books of the month section, or walk in random aisle and pick one out as a surprise. Sister Lucy from INCRadio, Virginia says reading brings you to places through imagination.
mm.
Right?
This is
Yeah,
some really good comments
yeah, we
coming from our
do.
live chat.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for joining in and adding your advice. You know, actually something that I noticed recently at a lot of the bookstores near me is they're like covering like the book, so like with like a paper so you can't see the actual book, and then they write like a little description on it, and people will pick it as like a surprise or like they don't know what kind of book it is, but they can see like the little like description of it on the book, and I feel like that's kind of a new thing that a lot of bookstores have been doing, and I think that's kind of interesting
Mm,
way to kind of
nice.
find a new book that you never thought you'd read.
Yeah,
But
that's a great way to get more books, or because I feel like there's always like a trend with books as well.
mhm.
But if they like cover it and everything, we can discover more books that
Yeah,
we like maybe not have even thought of picking up. So that's a
yeah,
good
or like
idea.
books that might not be like super popular because I feel like a lot of people will pick the book that a lot of people have been talking about, but then you'll
Mhm.
find like
Hmm.
books that not everyone has seen before, and it could be a really great book that you just never would have thought you heard of.
It kind of piques your curiosity, like, oh, why did they do it that way? And so you'll pick it up, and like you guys said, it ends up being a great book, and hopefully they want you to purchase the book as well. So kind of like a great marketing tool as well. So
Yeah. That's
yeah.
smart. And I feel like a lot of people have been trying to get more into reading, and I think that's something a good way to find into it. But going into the rest of our topic because we don't have too much time, but we have to talk about our benefits because that's the whole point we're here is to talk about the benefits and kind of
Yeah.
convince those people that maybe don't find reading as important to them. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, I read all day in work. I don't find enjoyment in it. I don't want to read after work. That's a chore." And so we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits and why finding the right book for you can really change your opinion. So, why is reading so beneficial? Reading is a great way to help improve your literacy and your general knowledge. Books are an excellent source of learning, whether it's nonfiction or fiction. Reading whatever interests your mind. It also has that vocabulary and structure that is a great way of learning. It's also a better for your concentration and your ability to focus. Can be motivational, reduce stress, and help one get to sleep. So say sometimes I know my mom does this when she can't fall asleep, she'll read a book until she gets tired, and that's one of the way that she uses books to help her. But it's also a way to improve your concentration because dedicating like specific time each day or an amount of time each day to read is really good for training your concentration and your ability to focus. And as well as the mental stimulation is super important. Make sure your brain feels fulfilled after each day. So as we age, I work a lot with a lot of elderly patients and with memory care, and something that's super important is keeping your mind stimulated. Say you read all day with your work, but you need to have that time where you are separate and like working on something because reading all day is one thing, but that might not be mentally stimulating for you. Maybe you read the same kind of scenario each day. And so you don't have that same mental stimulation as you would as if you were reading a story or a book. And yes, there are many ways you can stimulate your brain, but reading is a great way to do that away from a screen, away from um, like kind of having that peace. And I think that's one huge benefit and a great way to stimulate your brain. It also helps foster the love of learning. One can discover new interests, build confidence, learn practical skills, and improve adaptability. So, yes, learning is something that we should always strive to do. And I think finding what you want to learn is super important and finding that drive to keep learning because there are so many things in this world that we don't know yet. And so, learning and finding out, as well as reading, is a good way to find friends or like find something to talk about. Sometimes you meet up with your friends and you're like, I don't know what I want to talk about, but you could talk about a book that you're reading and something that's really interesting, and then that can be a good starter or a good way to find friends, like maybe like reading the same things as you and stuff like that. And then going into our last question, I will go through it quickly. um, how to create reading or how to add reading a book to your daily routine. So I know for a lot of people, it's hard to kind of schedule that time in, that undivided time. But setting aside a time to read for maybe like 10 minutes, say that time you wake up and you just sit on your phone and scroll through social media, use that time to read. That's a better way to wake up your brain rather than staring at a screen. It's better to say maybe stare at a piece of paper and read. That it's a different kind of mental stimulation. It's a better way to open your brain up, and so that can be something that you can do to set aside your time to read. It's really a mental choice. And so, and then choose an interesting topic. You really need to go around and find something that you truly enjoy reading, and sometimes that takes a while, but it is worth it. Putting down your phone, I guess that is one way, unless you like reading ebooks, like electronic books or audiobooks, then I guess that might not be super helpful. But putting down your phone and then using your downtime to read. Or, for example, like waiting in line or for an appointment. So you're waiting to do something, you can read during that time. And then also make it a goal to read a certain number of pages. It can be a source of accomplishment that you can check off each time. Thank you for listening to our topic, and I will go to Sister Flo to read some more activity information.
Yes, but before we do that, I'd like to just say hello to Sister Jennifer Norberte, coming in from the district of Cavite South. Hello to Sister Jennifer Castillo. She said, I love audiobooks. I can listen while working on other activities. Brother Nathaniel Russell from INCRadio South Central States, he said, definitely had to shift my perspective in that it's more important to read what I like rather than what people say are good books. So everybody has their own um, thing about reading, and so thank you so much for for joining us with this topic discussion. And just saying hello to Sister Melby Tamayo coming in from Central Valley, California. Our activities coming up for the Ecclesiastical District of Oregon here in the local congregation of Oregon City. April 13, they'll be having a nature walk at Trillium Lake Park, Trillium Lake Park. On April 21, they'll be having their local fifth anniversary and socializing. And then for the local congregation of Hillsboro, the next banner po, April 6th, actually today, they had their Pasugo distribution and they went to Tillamook Creamery tour as well. And then on April 20th, they will have their film showing and Pasugo distribution. Just letting all of you know that next weekend, actually on April 12th, 3 local congregations celebrate their 5th anniversary. It is the local congregation of Vancouver, Hillsboro, and Oregon City. And we'll be talking about the anniversary next week, Saturday, about on that. So, Sister Lauren, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Sister Flo. And we'll go into our final acknowledgements and thank yous. So we would like to acknowledge Brother Moises Kadusale, our district supervising minister, and his wife, Sister Eileen Kadusale. Brother Noel Caritativo, our assistant district minister, and his wife, Sister Nora Caritativo. Brother Rod Reyes, our district CFO overseer. Brother Paulo Aquesta, our district multimedia advisor. All our ministers and families of the District of Oregon, as well as Brothers Arnel Solano, our station manager, Brother Manly Andaya, our executive producer, our technical team from the main station in the Philippines, and of course our behind-the-scenes crew, Brother Jess and Sister Christine, and of course all of our brethren and viewers that join us weekly on our YouTube channel and INCRadio DZEM 954. So please join us again next week on INCRadio Oregon. You kind of heard a sneak peek from Sister Flo about what we're going to be talking about, but until then, next up is INCRadio, Los Angeles County, California. Thank you for watching. Oh. Yes, specifically, Kuya Nico and Kuya Dan po. Thank you so much for joining us in the main station in the Philippines po.
Why they're always laboring. The church administration